من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب زدني علما. My respected elders and brothers, last week we started this topic that why is it said that parents are irreplaceable, and we mentioned I shared with you an incident that took place within this community without taking any names or any references. Likewise, we mentioned an incident of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah with his most celebrated student Qazi Abu Yusuf rahimahullah. But to counter that mentality that the youngsters or our sons and daughters are being bombarded with today, that we are more intellectual, we are more knowledgeable, or we are more smart than our parents and we know better. So what's the balance between the two? What does experience tells us, and what does Islam tell us? We also mentioned the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he said more or less to the nearest meaning, Allah postpones, delays the punishment of evil deeds in this world, rather keeps them in the hereafter. But there is one sin that Allah does not delay its punishment. The punishment is cash, and that punishment is disobedience of the parents. Before a person dies, he sees it, he feels it, and he has to bear it in this world. Moving forward, a couple of more examples, and inshallah, based on the time we have, what are the major rights of the parents? My respected elders and brothers, I'm speaking especially to the youngsters who are sitting here. Once we grow up, we don't realize that how much our parents have done for us. Once we get married and we have kids, then also 30-40% of the people realize. Still majority don't realize. We do so much for our kids. We give them so much time. We spend so much money for them. We try to keep them happy. We try to fulfill their desires. Still we don't realize how much our parents would have done for us. As I mentioned last time, one wrong thing, one saying something out of the context, maybe doing something that is not appropriate, it erases, it washes off everything the good that they did in the past. This should not be the case. We might see them, we might not see them, we might communicate with them, we might not communicate with them. The parents always have their kids in their mind. They always are making dua for them, they always are thinking for them. Quran mentions this when Yaqub alayhi salam, the sons of Yaqub alayhi salam, Yusuf alayhi salam was lost. He was made the treasure of Misr. Allah made him pass through all the tests. Now the famine is there. The second 7 years. The first 7 years, a lot of crops were there. The second 7 years, famine. Everybody has to go to the capital city, show his ID card. He will get the ration, a full camel load. He goes home. Once he finishes that, he comes back, shows his ID to look into the logbook, and yes, he came a month or 2 months or 3 months ago. He's not taking it for a second time. Would give him the rations again. So the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, it was the turn next time to go. What was the advice of Yaqub alayhi salam? Those of you who have read the tafsir of Surah Yusuf know this. Yaqub alayhi salam, being a nabi, being a prophet has much higher level of iman and dependence on Allah as compared to me and you. Because they are chosen by Allah, they are brought up by Allah, they are cultured and nurtured by Allah. So he said, you are 11 brothers. Do not enter with one from one gate. Because in those days the cities had gates. They were fortified. If we go to the historical places today, we see this. All of you should enter from 11 different gates. Because if somebody sees you that 11 people from one family are coming, maybe they would cast an evil eye on you. तुम पे नज़र लग जाएगी कि एक ही घर के 11 लोग जो है वो आ रहे हैं. माशाल्लाह इतनी बड़ी फैमिली है या इतना गल्ला ले जा रहे हैं. किसी भी एतबार से नज़र लग सकती है. नज़र हक है. To have an evil eye is haq. Is something that is authentic, and it happens. It happened in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was a camel, a beautiful camel. Somebody casted an evil eye on the camel and he died on the spot. So sometimes the nazar and the evil eye is so detrimental and harming. So he said, do not enter from one gate, enter from 11 different gates. And then he, after mentioning these, he said, I know if Allah wants, nothing will happen. Or if Allah wants the harm, I cannot stop any harm, though you enter from 11 different gates. So this gives us an idea for us to learn as children of our parents, that how much our parents are concerned for us. Whether we might not realize this, but this is their responsibility. Allah has built it up in this. And if some of us sitting here are parents ourselves, we can relate to this, what I'm saying to you right now. The way we take care and think of our kids, likewise our parents also used to do when we were small and they were bringing it up. So this gives us an idea how much the parents are caring. Again, coming back to this mentality, the parents know less and we know more. The incident of Nuh alayhi salam in the Quran, when the floods were announced and the flood started coming. I'm not going in the ayahs and the translation to save the time. When the flood began, the earth also started pushing up water, ejecting water from it. The sky also started throwing down the water. Water was from all the sides. There wouldn't be a single inch on earth on that day that would be without the water. This is what the books of tafsir tell us. So at that time, Nuh alayhi salam, whose son had not accepted Islam, said, I will go on the peak of the mountain and the mountain will save me. Nuh alayhi salam said, today nobody will be saved except for whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves. So the mufassirin, the commentators of the Quran have mentioned, he used his intellect. Usne apni aqal istemal ki. Nuh alayhi salam was talking from naqal. Nuh alayhi salam naqal se baat kar rahe the, wo aqal se baat kar raha tha. Naqal kisko kehte hain? Quran aur hadith. Arabi zaban mein naqal se murad Quran aur hadith hai. So Nuh alayhi salam was talking based on the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was talking from his intellect. He didn't listen to Nuh alayhi salam. While the conversation was still going on, the flood took him away. Okay. So my respected elders and brothers, and especially the youngsters who are listening, this gives us an idea that what should be the balance, how our mindset should be, how our thought process should be. Starting quickly, 1 by 1 minute each, what are the rights of the parents in Islam in light of the Quran and the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One thing I mentioned in detail last time, this is a foremost right. They tell you to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then in that respectfully we don't listen to them. The situation changes. It could be 1 out of the 100 situations. Now how to tackle that situation? Specific situation, this cannot be mentioned in the Jummah khutbah. So whomever you are connected to, the ulama or the scholars, you should go to them in privacy, mention this, that this situation is taking place. How could I find a middle way where I should not disrespect my parents also, and likewise I don't break the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. So after the major right of obeying and being obedient to our parents, the second right is that we should make them feel good by saying good words to them, by saying kind words to them, thanking them, Jazakallah khair. Mom, Dad, you did so much for me, may Allah reward you. You will see the difference in the few days, because all of us are such. The parents don't need this. The parents don't expect this from us. But being human being, when you thank anyone, forget the parents, it has a huge impact. The situation turns 180 degrees. So that's why always be kind to them, say good words to them, express your appreciation to them, and inshallah their du'as will increase. As I mentioned to you, maybe I didn't mention, the hadith says the du'as of 3 people are not rejected by Allah. And one of the du'as is the du'a of the parents for their children. Whenever they make du'a, Allah accepts it. Moving forward, another right is we should not raise our voice above theirs. Okay? Extreme care must be taken when their hearing is diminished. Sometimes because of the age, the hearing aid is there, or it's not there. We have to speak still as much as what is needed. One brother, his mom, she wasn't able to hear properly. So whenever he used to go and physically meet her, he would keep the conversation as less as possible, because he didn't know, though this is not wrong. If it was needed, he should have raised his voice based on what the need was. But he was so careful, extra careful we would say, he would limit his conversation ताकि जोर से बोलना ही नहीं पड़े. And whenever he used to talk, he used to use the phone when away from the house. फ़ोन पे वो ज़्यादा बात करते थे चूँकि फ़ोन कान के करीब होता है और उसमें थोड़ा सा भी ऊंचा बोले आवाज़ चली जाएगी. So on the phone conversation he used to speak, but physically meeting once in a while he used to minimize his conversation. Allah gave him a death in the month of Ramadan. So this is the effect of fulfilling the rights of the parents. Obey them in those matters that are religiously permissible. Moving forward, do not ascribe your lineage to someone else. Even a child that is adopted, when needed, his lineage should be towards his real parents. So Islam doesn't allow us to attribute our lineage to anyone other than our father or other than our parents. We should spend on them. If the parents are in need of a monthly specific amount of money for the expenses, it's wajib, it's obligatory upon us. But if they are not in need, then it's not wajib or mandatory or obligatory upon the children, but it's always good to spend on them. Allah gives barakah because of this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives reward because of this. Spending on money on the parents, you get the reward because of doing this. Okay? Moving forward, gaze on them with love, tenderness and compassion. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person who looks once upon his parents with love and affection, Allah gives him the reward of an optional Hajj and Umrah. So one time you look with love and affection, one Hajj and Umrah. Okay? So if somebody asks, I look 10 times, the hadith says Allah has there is nothing less in the treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's very easy, but shaitan doesn't allow us to do this. Okay? Moving forward, if they are helpless and need you, do not leave them. Even if it's mentioned, if Hajj is obligatory upon you, or a specific Islamic duty is obligatory upon you, but your parents cannot survive because of you. One is Hajj is not obligatory, or one is Hajj is obligatory but somebody can live with them. But it is a genuine 100% case that if you go for Hajj, something extreme would happen to them. Islam says stay with them. The incident of Uwais Qarni rahimahullah, the greatest of the tabi'een are those people who saw the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. He wanted to come, but his mother was sick. So he was told, stay with your mother. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him, do not come to me. Okay? Serve your mother. His mother passed away. By that time, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had also passed away. So imagine he lost this opportunity to become a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the greatest fortune in this world. There is nothing more than this. A person who saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and got the status of being his companion. But what reward Allah gave him? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person will come after me, his name is Uwais. He is from Yemen, from the tribe of Qarn. Whoever sees him, request him for dua, but because Allah accepts his dua. In Hajj he came, Umar radiallahu anh, every year used to look for people, anybody from Yemen, from the tribe of Qarn, with the name of Uwais. He found him. He said, a person of the caliber of Umar is saying, make dua for me. Why was this reward given? Because of serving the mother. So this is what Allah gives in this world. Forget about the hereafter, way more in the hereafter, just because of fulfilling the rights of the parents. Moving forward, don't sit ahead of them in a gathering. Do not walk ahead of them if you are walking on the street. Do not precede them in anything, eating, drinking, sitting, speaking, everything. You're sitting on the dastarkhan, you're sitting on a table, request your parents to start the food first. Do not stare at them with a sharp look, as I mentioned. Looking upon them with love and affection, Allah gives so much, nafil hajj and umrah. To stare and give a sharp look on them, this is not allowed. Sometimes, forgive me the elders for saying this, sometimes genuinely parents do wrong. Still, now this ab dekha jayega ki bachcha apne aap ko kitna bardasht kar sakta hai. Now it is the time of test for me and you as a son and daughter, that how much are we able to control ourselves. That's why the ulama say माँ बाप को भी चाहिए कि नाजायज़ हुक्म अपने बच्चों को ना दें, कि कहीं वो हुक्म जो है उसको सोचने उसके करने में वो परेशान हो जाएं कि मुझे करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए. तो जैसे बच्चों को माँ बाप की मानना ज़रूरी है, ऐसे ही माँ बाप के ऊपर ये जिम्मेदारी है कि गलत कामों का और नाजायज़ कामों का हुक्म अपने बच्चों को जो है वो ना दें, या ऐसा जुल्म ना करें, ऐसी जिम्मेदारी ना डालें जो वो कर नहीं सकते. बहू से सास परेशान होती है, गुस्सा बेटे पे उतारती है. तो ये बिल्कुल उसी की मिसाल है कि अब वो बेचारा सैंडविच बन के बीच में रह जाता है. अब वो बीवी को संभाले या सास को संभाले. सास माँ को बोलता है तुम खुद निपटो उससे, नहीं तुम्हारी बहू है ये. माजरत के साथ आपको बुरा लगेगा, मैं गलत बात नहीं कर रहा. हर दूसरे तीसरे दिन हमारे पास ये मसला आ रहा होता है कि वो सदके का बकरा बन जाता है शौहर, चूंकि वो बहू को निपटे या वो सास को निपटे. आगे चलते हैं. Another thing is, whenever it's time for the death, they pass away, funeral prayer upon them, participating, going to the qabristan, asking them for forgiveness. We might do a lot of mistakes, we might not be fulfilling their rights, so it's very difficult, but try doing this once in a while. Ask them for forgiveness. Any contracts they have after their death, or any qarza, loan they have upon themselves after they pass away, try, if Allah has given you the capacity, do it. Maintain the relationship with their blood ties, spend charity on their behalf. Isa alayhi sawab जिसको उर्दू में कहते हैं. Once they pass away, visit their graves and honor their friends. I know time is up. Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu was on a camel. The servant, the student, was walking the camel. Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu anhu was wearing a turban. The friend of his father came. He got down from the camel, took off his turban and gave it to him. So the student said, why did you do so much? ये आम गरीब सा आदमी है, थोड़े से इकराम से ये खुश हो जाता. Why did you need to do this? He's a poor man, simple man, villager. If you would have just got down and shaken and you would have done musafaha, did salam to him, he would be happy that a person of the caliber of Abdullah ibn Umar is getting down out of his car for me. So he said, he's the friend of my father. So my respected elders and brothers, and especially the youngsters, this is by and large what Islam tells us regarding the responsibility of our parents upon us and how much we need to do. And after their death and in their life also, seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that, oh Allah, I don't have the capacity to fulfill their rights, so please forgive me and give me the strength to do as much as what is needed. So whatever was said and heard, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of these things. Ameen. Brothers are requested, inshallah, if you can all stand up and make sure the lines are straight. If there are any gaps, inshallah, please move up. The brothers on the second floor also, please try to move in the front as much as possible. आगे की सफ़े पहले पुर कर लें इंशाल्लाह. जब सफ़ पूरी हो जाए फिर अपनी सुन्नतें शुरू करें. Yes brothers, at the back, if they can quickly move up inshallah. जो पीछे साथी हैं ज़रा जल्दी जल्दी अपने बाएं तरफ, मेरे दाएं तरफ काफ़ी जगह है, पीछे की तरफ उसको जल्दी से पुर कर लें. जज़ाकल्लाह.